I'm Merle Foster. I'm the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce here. I've been with the Chamber for 15 years. I have a long history in Chamber of Commerce work in other areas, but I came here to retire basically 15, 16 years ago, and the Chamber didn't have an Executive Director, and so I talked to the city and they offered me a situation. So I've been doing it ever since, really love it, love living in a small town. This is by far the smallest town that I've ever lived in. But I like the people here, I like the fact they'll help you if you need help, and I think it's a great place to live. In celebrating Three Rivers Centennial, we started this in January of 2013 at our cafeteria for our chamber banquet. And we looked back at the founding of Three Rivers and the first 20 or 30 years of it, when primarily it was ranching and farming around here. Then in February we did the arts. We invited past and present artists to display their artwork for a month as part of the Centennial. And then in April, we had our annual Salsa Festival on the square downtown, which we have each year.
You want some snap to it for sure, but yet you don't want to blow the person away either. Start off with fresh ingredients, add a little tender love and care, mix, and it's done. They got a little bite to them, try them.
On April 6, Three Rivers held their 14th annual Salsa Festival.
My name is Red Daniels. I'm from Refugio, Texas. This will be about the third year. The first year I participated, I won the People's Choice and the Judge's Choice. And so I skipped last year, but we're back. You got to have fresh tomatoes, no canned tomatoes. You use fresh and don't use canned jalapenos. Take the raw jalapenos, boil them, and put that, mainly, you asked me what makes a good salsa? Fresh ingredients, no canned. Hotter is not better. If it's too hot, it singes your taste bud, and then after that, you can't even taste your food. You know, I try not to, in my fire profession, we try not to get, let people get burned up. And I certainly am not going to make a product that will burn them up. I like to have a taste that satisfies, a little tinge of warmth, but not so much that you crave water,
María Tierra Negra. Es la primera vez que participamos aquí. Darle el punto a la salsa, darle el buen sazón. Por ejemplo, la salsa verde es guisada, no es cruda. Y le tuve que estar hirviendo hasta darle el punto que agarre el sabor que necesita para que sepa sabrosa. Y de esta es diferente porque lleva un chile que es ahumado y es el que le está dando el sabor, y la gente pregunta qué es lo que tiene. Lo que tiene es que el chile es ahumado y no en cualquier lugar lo va a encontrar, por eso lo traje de México. Y dicen, sabe a mole, pero no es mole, es salsa. Esta porque no pica, pero tiene el sabor, y esta porque pica y quieren seguir probándola más, pero pues como está la línea caminando, no se detienen más tiempo aquí.
Marcus Selva, S-E-L-V-A, and it's just homemade. I mean, we call it Selva salsa. The secret to the good salsa, actually, we think, is letting it settle overnight. So we definitely made it yesterday, let it settle overnight in the refrigerator. This way all the ingredients that you put in there kind of season overnight, and then the next day the combination's perfect. What you really want to try and do is taste the jalapenos before you make the salsa, or habaneros, or whatever you're using, so you can figure out before you do it how hot it's going to be. This is our first year participating in Three Rivers. Back in 2000, we participated in a contest in San Antonio, and we did well, so we figured we might as well give it another shot at some point. We're from San Antonio. We did, yeah. I've got some buddies over at Sewell's Barbecue, and they let me know about the competition, and we thought we'd figure it out and give it a shot.
All righty, good luck.
Thank you.
My name is Merle Foster, and I'm the Executive Director of the Three Rivers Chamber of Commerce, and this is our 14th Annual Salsa Festival. Well, the Salsa Festival tries to kind of celebrate everything salsa, whether it's music, dancing, or eating of the food, the salsa.
I'm Reed Koenig from Austin. I'm Representative Guillen's Administrative Director. We'll be judging the salsa here. It generally goes with the fresh and distinctive taste and the how well the ingredients blend.
There is a competition for the best salsa. We have about 3 categories, but the big categories and the one that you have the most people in is the amateur, and because that has a grand prize of $1,000 for the best amateur salsa. So amateur has to be people that make it for home consumption.
I'm pretty open to the different types of salsa out there. There's no real one that I prefer.
My name is Josie Papas, and I'm from Laredo, Texas. I came to represent my sister, Judith Zapparini. I'm used to eating hot sauce on the border, but the hot sauce today was delicious. It usually is, but it was really good. A couple in particular, and I just had them with a spoon and water, and really good, really delicious. They make really good hot sauce here.
People's Choice Award is we have a salsa tasting. You probably saw the line out there. People go through all day and taste, and the salsas are numbered. At the end, they vote by number, and we give an award for People's Choice too.
Well, number one, that it's hot. And then if it's got, in many cases, a perfect amount of salt, and the texture.
Not too hot. I kind of sensitive to the heat, but it's got to be hot enough to taste it, of course.
The creamy ones are just as good as the ones that are like pico de gallo type. The restaurant one was really delicious. A bunch of them are really delicious. It's really hard to pick a winner. It's really hard to give one points from another one because they're just really good. They were really, really good.
Actually, I haven't had any yet. Oh. This will be the first.
Interesting.
Just so I wouldn't be biased in my opinion.
Yeah. How many years have you done this?
Oh, I've probably done it at least 5 times, 7 times, between 5 and 7 times, and I love coming to it because it's. If you like hot sauce, this is what you want to judge. It's hot sauce.
Well, I've never been in the room when they do it because we do let them judge, and we try to make it as fair as possible. But from what I've heard, they primarily select the best flavor, the salsa they thought had the best flavor to it. Some people have made the mistake of trying to think it's the one that's hottest. That's not true.
One in particular I found to be delicious. I tell you, I served myself 3 times from it. All you're supposed to do, you just need one to judge it, right? But I loved it so much, I got up 3 different times and ate from that one. I think that's the one that stayed really low. Probably because it came close to my personal taste with ingredients, with salt and so on and so forth.
Well, it was an idea that I'd had for a long time and other places, and it was just something that I had an opportunity to do it here. I met with some of the business people, and they were for doing it, and so we put it together.
Do you have a preference, or is there a real difference between the greens and the reds?
No, I'll eat all of them. You know, I'm not picky about that. As long as it's good, and they were all good. There wasn't a single one that I could tell you was not good. They were excellent. There were many that were just excellent. Sorry that everybody can't win.
Hi, my name is Grace Ham. I won the judge's choice and the people's choice, and I'm very happy. Keep trying. This is my first time, and I'm praising God for it. Well, we live in Whitsett, so we've been here to the Salsa Festival for several years, and my husband suggested, let's join, let's compete, and we did. And we both did well.
Oh, both.
I think I did better than him, though. Thank you so much.
And then in May, we had a farmer's market and a flower and vegetable show to show what our land has produced through the years in terms of food and beauty.
I'm chairperson of the Centennial Celebration here in Three Rivers. Today we're at the Garden Club Plant and Bake Sale and Farmers Market, and we have other vendors who have set up booths and are selling their wares. This plant sale and bake sale that the Garden Club is doing is being done differently this year. Normally the Garden Club sets up a week before Mother's Day and sells plants and baked goods. They root the plants themselves, the Garden Club members do. They prepare the baked items, and it's usually their major fundraiser for the year. And we've invited other vendors, hopefully trying to bring in more business for them, as well as make some money for the other vendors. But the plant and bake sale for them is usually the Garden Club's major fundraiser. And some of these ladies have been rooting plants for months.
And I'm here in Three Rivers, Texas at the Garden Show at their expo, and we are trying to give back to the community and get to meet with everyone and visit and have a really good friendly day. And my project is involved in Mary Kay, and I'm not for profit, And what I do is, this is my daughter, Emily Ann, and she is active duty in the U.S. Navy, and she just finished her 3rd year. And because of that, I have noticed that there is a need for care packages and touches of love to be sent out to all of our soldiers, and I want to be able to give back to all of our Live Oak County soldiers. And so what I have done is I have gotten together with Mary Kay, and we have created what we call an SOS kit, and it has satin hands that they can use also on their feet. This is a picture of my daughter's boots that she wears every day on the ship, and they just tear her feet up. But you can use the satin hands on the feet, and it really helps bring them back, especially when you're out in deployment for 18 months. And they not only love getting the mail, but to know that they're thought of and that they're cared for and that we're thinking of them just means the world to them.
Okay, my name is Ted Kriska. I was born and raised in the Valley of Edinburgh, Texas. And I farmed quite a bit with my dad. He passed away here recently, about 6-7 years ago. But I took up the habit of farming back in them days. And I tell you, farming's not always easy as people might think it is, because you can lose your tail on that kind of stuff. You don't always come out at the right time, the right prices. And right now, what I had this year, I haven't really put much of a garden in, but I put in just enough for what I do my canning. I do a lot of canning myself, like tomatoes and cucumbers and bell peppers and onions and all that stuff. I do have onions and okra at the house, but it was just too wet to get in to get them. I have to put in my plants, fertilize them every 14 days, Miracle-Gro, spray the leaves with them. I also soak through soaker hoses. There's more work involved in planting a garden than what people think. They think you go up just stick a plant in the ground, water it a little bit, it produces it real good, pretty, but it really don't. You have to put in some fertilizers around this area here to make the tomatoes pretty and your bell peppers come out pretty. There's a lot of the crops around here.
July, we had what we call the Big Bang Weekend, which was really kind of the culmination of the celebration. And we had 3 bands, so we had a nice fireworks display. We had it all on one Saturday evening in the park here in Three Rivers. And it was attended by about 7,000 people. Very successful event.
Every note just wrapped around your soul. From steel guitars in Memphis all the way to rock and roll. I can hear them playing, I can hear the ringing of a beat-up guitar. I can hear them singing, keep on dreaming, even if it breaks your heart.
September, we had an all-school reunion where we invited everyone that's ever attended the Three Rivers schools to come back to meet with their former fellow classmates and to dedicate a new high school. We dedicated a new high school at that time, and we are presently building a new junior high school and an elementary school. So when we get those finished, all the schools in Three Rivers will be relatively new.
Gather around, we'll get started before it starts raining again. Certainly want to welcome everyone this morning to the ribbon cutting and dedication of this grand new building built by the citizens of Three Rivers for our children. We're truly grateful. We want to start this morning with our Star-Spangled Banner. Our band is under the direction of Mr. Ruben Acosta and Ms. Megan Stevens, and they sound awesome. I'm so proud of them. I'd like to welcome special guests that are in attendance this morning. First, representing Representative Ryan Guillen's office, Reed Koenig. Reed, thank you for being here.
How many of y'all remember school before we had air conditioning? It's always easier to remain in the same place, physically or mentally, and not move forward. This new facility moves us forward in both areas. Inside these walls, our teachers prepare our new leaders. Inside these walls, our children's character is developed and their mind is challenged. Inside these walls, you are entrusted with what we hold dearest to our hearts, our children. And congratulations to the school board, the administrators, and everybody that had a part in this project. Magnificent job. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from our architect, Mr. Randy Fromberg.
Thank you. Well, it's an honor to be here with you today. There are so many people who offered ideas and input into the design of this school, it would be impossible to thank everyone. Two people I wanted to especially mention. Mr. Rohrbach was just a great partner in the design and really helped me to be a better architect. And I also want to thank my wife, Karen, for putting up with me. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Mr. Joe Carlock from DSA Construction Management.
Thank you, and I also want to say it's been an honor to work with this group. DSA has been building schools and churches for nearly 50 years. We worked with literally 1,000 different school boards and church building committees, and you can be proud of the administrators and the leaders that you put together here at this school to lead them forward into the future. It has truly been an honor to work with these folks, and I don't say that just because most of them are sitting behind me, but it is the truth, and we thank you for the privilege of doing that.
This gentleman literally lived at this construction site for the last 3 years. Mr. Donald Casper would like to address you.
I think we have to go back to July of 2010. In July of 2010, the board, with their wisdom, voted to go out for a bond issue to build this building. Then that vision became a reality. And on November the 3rd, we started working. Hiring DSA was one of the wisest moves we made. They helped us tremendously in getting bids on the projects. They were here, they worked with us. At this point, I want to single out two individuals, and that's the only two I'm going to single out today. One of them is Barry Fall. Barry was here every week of this project. Every week. he would be here by 9:30 in the morning. Barry and I used up 2 cell phones, 2 fax machines, and we were constantly, and 2 computers, I might add too, just with emails. I appreciate Barry. The second person is Mr. Kenny Rohrbach. Kenny worked tirelessly. He spent many hours working on this building. He did you a good job. He did this community a good job in the construction of the building. Things look good in Three Rivers. It's great to be a bulldog. Thank you.
I'd like to make a special presentation to Mr. Arlen Retzloff.
Thank you, Mr. Retzloff. Thank you, David. You had a lot to do with this building.
But we have a gentleman that served this district for 46 years. I had the privilege for the last 3.5 years of working with Mr. Casper as my business manager, and we got to be pretty good partners up here and worked very well together. 48 years to public education. So Mr. Casper, would you please come forward? When you look at that bulldog, it honors everyone who's graduated from this school district and will graduate from this school district or attend this school district, and especially honors Harrison Curbelo. So thank you to the Curbelo family and everyone who gave generously to that fund to make that bulldog a reality. This time I'd like to ask the board and Mr. Fromberg and DSA representatives to come forward, and we'll cut the ribbon.
I'm Elvira Reina, and I attended school here in Three Rivers. I graduated in 1964.
I graduated in 1976.
1976 also.
Look at this facility. The facilities are just incredible. Incredible. I can't wait to go see the old high school.
I graduated in 1992, and I also came back to Three Rivers, and I was a science teacher here for 6 years. My mom had taught here for about 38 years. She taught kindergarten, and this is home to us, and it's always a good thing to come home to Three Rivers. This is where our family is, and this celebration is really special to us, and we're so glad that they had it this year.
It is really nice. These kids, I think these kids are very lucky.
I'm Nakia Neal. I attend Cal Allen High School now. I used to go to Three Rivers since I was in 5th grade, and then I moved. Oh no ma'am, I used to though, and it was so much fun. I loved it. I love it way better than Cal Allen actually.
This event has been in the works for, 2 years now, I think, headed up by Patty Reagan, in conjunction with the centennial of the community, 100 years. And they partnered with the school district to host everyone that's ever graduated from our high school.
Then the last thing that we did was a look at the future with Dr. Peter C. Bishop from the Future Studies Department at the University of Houston. And he spoke at the Chamber Banquet, and I think he was very entertaining and very interesting.
So when I talk about the future, I do it with a little jingle in my head, because it is a complicated place, it's full of change, but to kind of keep things straight, and I'll just share the whole thing with you and then work through it just a little bit. Of course, the future will be full of people, and people will transform resources from the environment, out there in the fields and in the ground and in the air, and they'll use technology to transform those resources, which of course we know a lot about. And they'll transform those resources into economic goods and services, things which we all need and want, make our life necessary and viable and pleasant. So how will all of these things be changing? Well, let me start with the people. Will there be a future to small towns in Texas? The answer is yes, but unfortunately the projection is fewer. Live Oak County and Duval and McMallen counties are projected to actually lose population in the next 50 years. That's not determined, there's nothing, and that can be reversed, but there are about 2 to 3 dozen counties in Texas, rural counties, that are going to lose population to the bigger counties. And so that's the bad news. The good news is that being a smaller place is not necessarily being a worse place. Smaller means less hassle, less big trucks driving down the highways, less people getting in the way, and all of that kind of thing. This town obviously will probably return in not too distant future to a lot of what it was before. So a little bit smaller is not so bad. Oh, guess what the other one is? Older, right? That's the one prediction I'll make. 10 years from now, we'll all be 10 years older, right? I will. Barring the alternative, and I don't want to think about that. So that's going to happen. What's the interesting part about the aging in our society is that we've been talking about it forever. So the people of Three Rivers in 50 and 60 years will be those people who grew up with a cell phone in their hand, and parents who were taking care of them and really loving them and expecting them to do well in school and do well. So I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful for this younger generation. What about the resources? Do we have enough resources? Of course, oil is the big one around here. There's good news and bad news. The bad news is that this big oil boom is not going to last forever. The good news is that this big oil boom is not going to last forever, right? What we expect is an unconventional oil of this type has about 10 or 15 years in it. And that's a long time. There'll be a lot of going on. After that, oil will probably decline as a resource, and we'll be challenged. What will take its place to a large extent will be gas, natural gas. But in the long run, fossil fuels in general are probably going to recede towards the end of the century. Not only because of climate change, but also because of cost and resource availability and things like that. So what mostly happens is that things become electric. And they become electric from those renewable resources, from the sun and from the wind and from the waves. And those are a tiny fraction of our energy today, granted. Where's the fuel going to come from, though? And in that case, the fuel could probably come from little biological materials called algae. Algae have within them thousands and thousands more productivity than most any other biofuel like corn or sorghum or soy or anything. Hundreds of thousands of times more, but we don't have the technology there. But if you have sunlight and a carbon source and water, huge algae farms will probably be producing the liquid fuel that we will use. Now, do we going to have liquid fuel run our homes? Of course not. We don't do that anymore, heating oil. Will we have electric fuel run our automobiles? That probably not. I suspect they'll be almost all electric or fuel cells by that time. 20 or 30 years, not even 20 or 30, 10 to 15 years from now, I think we will be amazed at how smart the machines are that we work with. The machines themselves will transform themselves. They will look the same. Toasters will look like toasters, and refrigerators and automobiles and airplanes. But they will be so much smarter. Let's take a standard automobile. Of course, it will have a huge glass panel thing. They're putting cell phone. It'll be like a cell phone screen right in the automobile. You thought texting was going to be a problem. People watching DVDs and videos while they're driving is a bigger problem. And then, well, gee, if the machine is so smart, maybe we give up the steering wheel altogether. Now, there's a thought, right? There's a thought. Google, of course, has driven their car a couple of 100,000 miles so far under probably very safe conditions in California and has never had an incident. And will we see those days where people will sit down where there won't be a steering wheel? All there'll be is a big button that says, stop, things are going wrong. Machines do break. But the machine can be improved and improved and improved, just like the airlines. So the future is going to be way different. Full of smart machines, full of a global economy which is, barring a catastrophe, even more integrated and more competitive than it was before. It will be, we have our challenges, demographically, environmentally, and politically. So it's going to be a challenging decade. It's going to be a challenging century. All of these things are changing. But we're the generation now, for the time being, who can do something about that, can think about this future, can think about preparing our children for a different future than we were prepared for them to be successful in that future rather than in the future that we were successful in. That's what future studies is really all about, is preparing for the unpredictable, getting ready for change, being able to think differently and not basically hooked into or so aligned with the present. Its practices, its values, its customs, its ways that we can't move when we have to a new and different future. Thank you again for the chance to share some ideas about the future. I sure hope I gave you something to think about. Thank you much.
Thank you, Doctor. Very interesting, and I'm glad to know my kids aren't lazy. And we need to talk about that steering wheel because I'm not sure where you put the horn. I do have some people in College Station. They can probably help you with that, though.